Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Extra. Now, I'm joined by my co host, of course, this morning, Fatima. Good morning.
Good morning, Sumaya. Thank you so much for that introduction. I mean, sorry that I was a bit late. I
No,
was
it's cool.
actually running. It was just something that you don't predict, and
Yeah,
it just happened. So yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. We're talking about something you don't predict is a matter of fuel reduction. We've
Yes,
seen,
yes,
not only Dangote, but
yeah.
even the independent
Private
marketers.
marketers
Yes,
reducing it to 900 and
so that's a great thing.
89
Yes,
thereabout. Yeah,
yes. So it is a great news, and like I was speaking earlier, saying in the spirit of Christmas, everybody should show kindness to each other.
exactly.
So this is them making some adjustment to at least give back to
Ease
their,
the
yes,
stress and
to
the
their
tension.
society. Indeed. So hopefully we get to see it replicate in the travels, the cost of goods, because everyone blames the unification of the naira and also this
Spill
fuel
subsidy.
expense. So hopefully we get to see it being reduced. And yeah, earlier we were talking about that sad situation that happened in
In
Ibadan.
oil, yeah.
Yes, and it's still ongoing, the investigation.
Yes, the investigation is actually going on. Apparently, we found out that the number of people that were supposed to turn out to the fun fair is supposed to be 5,000, but then 7,500 turned out, and the place was actually a bit too small for the number of people that turned out, and hence the stampede. And definitely, even if it's for children, parents will definitely be there because no one
There
wants to
should
leave
be,
their
of course.
children.
Okay, that's a
And
calculation. I think that
exactly.
was something perhaps the organizers missed because at the end of the day, you cannot control 5,000 children. So
Exactly.
these people would come with their parents to make sure
Definitely to make sure the event takes
everything is
place
done well.
accordingly. But then another thing that is being said is, did they even consult or write to the police or any security agency to be there, and are there any emergency
Exit plan.
exit plan put together, just in case of any situations like what happened. Maybe it would have been a little bit, easier
Manageable.
managed. But then, a lot is actually being investigated to see what really turned out. Because there are other fun fairs that were events that were organized, but nothing like that happened. Even though we have seen previous times that there were stampedes and stuff like that. It's I think 2019 that
Yeah.
it happened, and other years back. So
It really
investigations are.
breaks our heart. As much as this cost a lot of lives. This costs a lot of lives, and this is
Children
not
not.
just an adult. We're talking about people, the kids that are vulnerable,
Yeah.
that could not really protect themselves. To be, stepped on to go out of breath until you
Definitely.
lose.
I mean,
you
if you
lost them.
remember the
Breaks
one
my
that
heart.
happened with the school a couple of months when they were sharing the palliatives,
Palliatives.
and some students lost their lives. So in a situation where, and that school is even big enough to contain people, but because of how it was rushed, so but then like I said, investigations are being carried out to know what really happened. But then the Oni's ex-Oni's wife is arrested, and other organizers, I think like 7 of them are
Yeah, including the
in
principal of the
custody.
school.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
a lot of people, and at the end of the day, we also saw the Oni of Ife,
coming out,
yes,
to
give solidarity to the
yes,
Queen, saying
yes,
that she used to even do this amazing thing in Osun
yes,
State. So please be lenient. Her heart was in the right place.
yes,
So we understand that, but right now I want to call on every organizer, not just kids, which of course anything that involves kids has to be handled with kids gloves,
utmost care.
really. So, but then every organizer out there, you don't just wake up and be organizer. There has to be really
Procedures and
practicalities to
put in
So
place.
make sure that you do all the necessary things, because we cannot continue to look for to just take excuses and say it costs life. So we cannot continue to defend someone when families are crying.
I mean,
and losing their
it's
loved
going
ones.
to be a black Christmas for families, because
It's
definitely
really
they
sad.
won't be happy celebrating without their loved ones, especially their children at
It
this
is
time.
really sad, the turn of
Yeah,
events.
and then we saw the Senator Remy, the wife of the president, also in Kaduna giving palliatives and donating about 20 something thousand bags of rice for Christmas, and and Obasani actually welcomed her in Kaduna, which is actually a good thing to see that people are actually rendering help and giving out
Of course,
something
as
for
it should
Christmas.
be.
Yeah.
As it should be, after all. After all, it is the administration that has made life difficult, so she
Yes.
should do that.
Yes.
But anyways, I appreciate the gesture of the First Lady, and our hearts goes to the bereaved families. in Ibadan. Now, quickly, let's take a look at the front pages of the National Daily, starting with the Weekend Trust that is fully packed. Major story is when Professor Ode Ojuo spoke about the VAT, and he said Tinubu should reduce VAT to 5%. And I remember watching a snippet of Professor Ode Ojuo interview with our very own chairman on our program Reminiscences, and he addressed the fact that if at all the president would surprise Nigerians, it should be that he's reducing VAT to 5%, considering the economic hardship currently. So if you want the deep dive of that, before Reminiscences airs, I think it would be airing today, later on the day, then make sure that you go through the Weekend Trust to hear what he said and why he said, in a crucial time where the president that this administration is saying we need more revenue. Professor Ode is saying, no, I think what you need to do is to reduce VAT to 5%. Now the VAT is at 7.5%. So that is a really controversial comment to make, and I cannot wait to see why he said this particular thing. Now below there we see hardship. We can't travel for Christmas and New Year, says Nigerians. Now our heart breaks. Like I said, even when the president has issued, a great initiative, which we appreciate, saying that there should be free train ride for citizens, there is still that when you drop from there, taxi drivers are just looking to punch or to jump on you, and it's like just want to seize the money from your pocket. There is still expenses. It is ridiculous that at the earlier this year, there was a prediction that a chicken would be at least 15,000 at the end of the year, but it is ridiculous that it is even up to 35,000 in Lagos. I've heard ridiculous
yes, and in
like
other
that.
places actually 25,000. And then don't forget the ridiculous one that I saw yesterday in the front page of our newspaper Daily Trust is that turkey is 130,000 per one.
This is
so
ridiculous.
It depends on the size, though. Definitely, even for the chicken, it depends on the size.
How big is the turkey up to a cow? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, it depends on how well fed they are. So that actually
I don't want them well fed. Just give me a bird. I'll be fine with a bird. But it breaks our heart that this is happening, and people are saying, you know what? I'm not even traveling, because we know that transportation is half of the problem. Because immediately you get home, people are assuming, oh, you're from the city, you're rich, so you have to take care of other expenses, in the village. So it breaks my heart that this is happening. Honestly, a lot need to be looked into, but please just try and appreciate, just try and relax and celebrate Christmas as much as you can afford. Okay, it's not the end of the world. This is a time that God gave us to just relax and unwind from the craziness of the entire year. Now, away from that, we see Bishi, a Bauchi village where Kilishi business is family's legacy. Now, you just got my mouth watery with the Kilishi discussion.
It's gonna, especially the area one Kilishi here. I mean, you're actually serious that your mouth is watery at this point. The peppery taste definitely has a way of, resonating with people, because it's a snack at the end of the day.
A snack.
So you see, when you go to visit people, families, they actually keep it by the side with all this stuff.
Americans do their own with the bacon, where they fry it and make it dry and crispy. Yeah. This is our own in Nigeria. Nigerians are known.
But then, do you know that actually Kilishi, the dry meat, is not allowed in America? You can't take it into the other countries.
That's ridiculous, though.
Yes, you can't take it into other countries.
Well, they're missing out. That's all I'm saying. They're missing out. So that means you have to come to Nigeria to enjoy this amazing delicacy, this snack. Now, away from that, below the headmaster, we see the many reversed appointments of Tinubu. Interesting there. You'd find that on page 11, what is happening in the government, while the president will make some decisions and then reverse on them. You would find that on page 11. Away from that, we see Army, Navy promotes 254 senior officers. Now, this you would find on page 25. Go search their names. Let's start by holding them, accountable. Let's see what they will bring to the table. It's not about, a promotion. If you're promoted, we should see you hold your country, dear to your heart, especially when it comes to army. I think the Army, the Navy are charged with a huge responsibility, even more than any average Nigerian, because you're in charge of security, you're in charge of making sure your country is safe. So these 254 people are saddled with more responsibility of making sure that our country that has been really reading, with insecurity is at least.
And talking about the armies and the promotion, the governor of Lagos State actually gave out hundreds of cars, to the security agencies in Lagos as a way of motivating and following up on their manifesto of saying, okay, yes, we are going to tackle insecurity and what have you. I'm sure we'll definitely bump into one of the front pages carrying that story. So yes,
as long as it's an occupational, when they say you call the police and they tell you that, oh, we have our car, but we don't have fuel, or we don't have a car at our disposal now.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's for that official purpose, then
yes, definitely, that's what it is. And he gave them with communication talkies and what have you. So a lot actually, and we just hope to see that other governors actually also take out that initiative, to give out
cars to the
right people, so that they can tackle insecurities in some areas that cars may not be, or the cars that they are being used now, they're actually outdated and tired. Even the guns also. So a lot of things that needs to be.
Yes, there's a lot of reform that needs to be done, and it just brings me back to what we saw. I think it was Ahmed Rufai in the House of Representatives talking about how management of budget comes in and how we should hold people accountable. And he made mention of the fact that parastatals, government agencies, and even government houses, every governor or every new office holder appointee come in, and the first thing he wants to do is to tell you that, oh, I need a budget for a new cars. Meanwhile, the other cars maybe were just bought 1 year ago, 5 years ago. It's too early for you to just say you want to turn out. When we have hungry people in the country, when we have a lot of things that needs to be done in the country, when we have security agencies, security men that do not have a great arms and ammunition.
I mean,
to
it shouldn't just
shouldn't
just be even vehicles that should be given. I mean, bikes also should be given, because there are some axes that the cars may not be able to go. And to get the numbers right, he gave out actually 260 vehicles to the police.
Okay, that's
so
really
which is
great.
Actually impressive and encouraging. And like I said, we just hope that other states will also take the initiative to
of course, to emulate that. I mean, right now we are awake. We're holding our governors accountable to do their part, knowing that it is not just the federation, talking about the federal government, to do their own part. The states governments are a huge part of it, because that is the reason why there's a breakdown of, you take care of here, you take care of here. That way it will be a collective effort. All right, away from that, we see controversies and scandals that rocked Kannywood in 2024. Ooh, that's a really great
I just opened that page, and I'm actually seeing pictures of Adam Zango, Fatiniger, Hadiza Gabon, Momi Gombe, Hafsat Lawansi, and then G-Fresh and his wife, definitely Sadia Haruna. The controversies are back to back.
A lot of controversy there. I hope we could just take this and wait to the entertainment segment.
Definitely. That's what it's going to be interesting. And don't forget, we have a Kannywood actor joining us, even though he's an upcoming sort of, but then he has appeared in some movies that we all have watched or we know. We're talking about.
I don't think he'll be considered upcoming though. He's been in the industry for a while.
But then maybe, I'm just saying, you can't compare him to people like Adam Zango and Ali No. Definitely you say that. So definitely for those that have watched that in Kowa would know the person that we are talking about much later.
Really excited for that one later. Well, basically these are some of the stories that you'd find on the Weekend Trust. Promises that is a full pack. We can always come with a full pack. Now, yes, on that one.
So let's quickly take a look at the Weekend Punch, Saturday Punch this morning. And major story there says, again, Port Harcourt Refinery shuts down after 1 billion rehabilitation. Now, last time we talked about this, and we are still seeing a reconfirmation of the fact that the refinery is actually shut down.
I don't know why. I never even believed the refinery was working in the first
place. It was actually, there was a video, like I said, that was going around showing that there were workers actually trying to revamp and
do you know how this makes the government look?
Well, so this is a story that we should actually, go through and see. Definitely we'll get more insight to what is actually happening right now. So And then the rider there says, truck drivers decry week-long wait for fuel. Now, definitely,
for me, it's the lack of transparency. Now, this is where, whether we like it or not, we have to give blame to whom has to take it. This is where I, with all due respect, point a finger at the president. First of all, he is still the Minister of Petroleum, right? Do we still have any other person? I think he still oversees it.
Well,
so if at all,
during Buhari's administration was taken off the presidency.
All right. If at all this administration promises transparency, we're not seeing enough when it comes to, what is happening in the oil and gas sector. Something is wrong. Us as the media, we've been trying to probe, to check, in order to give Nigerians detailed of what is going on.
Yeah,
and we are yet to understand
accurate
what is going on.
Yeah.
So it just does not speak well of this administration when it comes to transparency on especially this refinery. There's been a promise of it would be by April, it would be by October, it would be by December. It's December and there's still a problem, and we are not even understanding what is going on.
I mean, we just hope that there is a budget allocated to just making sure that refineries are up and working again to cut down on this. I mean, if this happens, it's going to cut down on so many hardships the Nigerians are going through. And let's not forget the banning of the foreign currencies also. These are ways and policies that I'm sure if put together and probably implemented in the right way, it's definitely going to cut down so many.
I've seen Nigeria's reaction to that, and Nigerians are saying, well, we saw the Senate pass it, but after all, it's the Senate, it's them that use the dollars.
Well,
I mean, Nigerians don't use dollars.
Yes, but we should give them credit for the fact that they thought about it, and at least it was sponsored by Network.
I'm not giving them credit for that. I have to say that. You know me, I will always say it.
If they didn't put it out there,
credit for implementation. So let's see how.
Definitely, that's what I'm saying. For them to have thought about it, that's what I'm saying.
No, I don't think. We think about a lot. Nigerians are smart.
But smart. If they didn't put it out there, would you have known that they are planning to ban the use of foreign currencies?
Whether they put it, they don't. I think we're past the stage. You have to give kudos to us. We're already smart. We know what we should do. We bring guests every day to talk about what should be done and what should not be done. So we know what should be done. So if them coming out, I'm not giving it to you like, oh my God, you could implement. Let's see.
For the fact that they've put it out there, I just feel Nigerians can hold them accountable if the implementation does not take place. So that's what I mean. So we can hold them accountable for whatever they put out there and they end up not implementing it, right? So let's take a look at some more stories. But then you can find that details on page 4 of the Punch this morning. And then above the belt, you see Yuletide. Security agencies deploy operatives as NRC offers free train rides. I mean, we saw chaos yesterday, and we had some of our reporters go out to the train station, to see what's happening. I mean, a lot of people have not been able to book the train tickets, even though it's free, just so that they can go see their families. Some have been struggling to see if they could book for today, tomorrow, but it's like it's fully booked and no chance because it's a free ride. I mean, everyone wants to enjoy anything that's free, and for the fact that it's Christmas or it's a festive season, definitely this came handy, but then a lot is actually going on. So go through page 9 for more details on that. And then we see the Ibadan Funfair tragedy, which we talked about earlier. Detained Oni's ex-wife, hospitalized, IG heads probe. Now, definitely, she didn't predict and didn't expect that was going to happen. So it must have affected her one way or the other. Definitely, if I may not know her personal life, but imagine if she has her own children and she loses one or anything, definitely, it will definitely affect her, So it's understandable. But then find details on page 4. And then Wizkid, Davido, other celebrity beef that shaped 2024. I'm sure Sumaya is going to give us details later on this. I can't wait to hear what has actually happened. But then go through page 17 for more details, and then we see that the soaring costs, shrinking income deepens as Yuletide celebration commences. Definitely, you can find more details on page 20 to 23. And then FG votes 27 billion for Obasanjo, Gowon, Buhari orders in 2025. I mean, talking about Buhari and others, we're talking about revoking of some lands and the FCT that, you know, the alleged land that they said belongs to Buhari, and then the Speaker House of Reps, Abbas, also, and some names that we saw on the list. But then, you know, Garba, I think Garba something came out to say that that didn't really happen. Yes, Buhari is given Garba Lawan, I think. He was given a land already, but then when they had the chance to go for a second one, Buhari rejected it. He was given a form to fill, but he didn't fill, and he said they should give it to the other people that need it, but he doesn't actually need it. So I think it's accurate to say that someone that was in the administration coming out to debunk that. And so,
you know, it had to be debunked because it had to be debunked. Ahmed, that's Ahmed Shehu.
Garba
Shehu, rather. Thank you so much for that correction. I think earlier it had to be debunked because we saw how during the former president's reign, one of his priorities, one of the things he prided himself about is his principle where he said, I do not own any house in Abuja. So that was a legacy that would have been crushed. So it was okay
good
from
to
his
see,
side,
for
them to quickly intervene to say, oh, no, we will not. So
and you know, definitely. So it's something that definitely I'm sure you're going to take on, maybe if anything has come out. But then let's not forget that actually Wiki has revoked 762 FCT lands already that belongs to people, and he has given ultimatum of 2 weeks for people to renew their retainership of their lands and what have you.
Do you know what is going on in the FCT?
It's a new sheriff that we have.
Exactly. When they say a new sheriff in town, I see the potential in the FCT minister. I give him kudos for what he's doing. I just feel sometimes if there are a bit of concern, then perhaps he should just slow down and listen. But where I give him kudos is the fact that he's checking on all this building. And there's been a lot of accusations. We've seen several reports saying that from 2010 to 2020, rich people have get to acquire buildings more than poor people, more than average Nigerians.
Obviously, what do you expect?
Which it should not be in that standard. And then also, if you see, I remember when I say one chance have really progressed, it's because there are abandoned buildings, even in the central areas. Talking about Wuse, Maitama, you go there, people just bought houses and left it there. After all, you cannot stay in more than one house at a time.
Definitely. And so some are actually fully built.
Exactly.
But no one is actually staying inside.
So now these crooks, these people that own a car,
go to
know
patch,
this as
hideout.
As hideout. So they kidnap people or they take people one chance and go to that place and freely operate, and then they come back and there is no help there. So if you're not going to occupy the house, why are you buying it and keeping it?
I mean, I thought there was a time that, you know, a news was circulating that they were going to demolish some buildings that were just stagnant for years, that nothing has been done. I don't know what happened to that, the process. We just saw it vanish all of a sudden, and it wasn't being talked about. I mean, even within Otakoye, you could see buildings that are actually looking very dilapidated, very old, and nothing is actually being done. So I just hope the FCT minister will look into those kind of buildings to make sure that, you know, they tackle the menace of the one chance and some attacks that is being carried out on the citizens here. So all right. So moving on, you can find that details on page 5. By the way, moving on, Yahya Bello regains freedom. Well, find details on page 8. Lagos hideout. I know
really
you
want
to say
you
something.
just passed on that story.
Definitely, because I know I don't want you to start talking, and hence I was rushing. Lagos hideout where foreigners pay Nigerians recruits 300,000 for romance scam. Sumaya, I was actually taking my time to say that because I can't believe that is actually happening, even though I know that there is one of the tactics that scammers use to scam and, you know, get to people's accounts is romance. That's one thing that actually takes place more faster than any other thing. So definitely find details on page 27 if you want to go through that.
We saw how the romance people were arrested, right?
I mean,
the hackers arrested an entire building
exactly
operating in Nigeria, talking about in Lagos, and if we're priding ourselves about, you know, states that have taken security really seriously, Lagos State is one of those states, and it happened in there, and it makes me wonder. You cannot
I mean,
tell me
hence
that
the reason why
someone is not backing these people.
Hence the reason why I commended the governor of the state for giving out the vans and vehicles for the security purpose.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot will be done. But go through page 27 for more details. And lastly, teacher whose sodomized my 10-year-old son must be jailed. This is coming from a Lagos mother. I mean, definitely, I feel her pain that nothing has been done, and this boy has been not just sodomized, but have been tampered with for life. I mean, we've seen the issue with PDD and some other persons that they are saying he has abused, and what their lives turned out to be. We hope.
This just brings us back to the fact that we have issues with implementation, because we saw, and I think the 10th National Assembly, or was it the 9th National Assembly rather, passed a bill on gender abuse and how you hold people accountable. We've had stories, we've hosted people that sometimes they say there is even a gender desk in police stations these days, but a lot seem not to be done about it, where we see people even when sometimes organizations are the one fighting for these kids or minors or anybody that was abused, and then sometimes the family will even be the one trying to hide the situation.
Yeah, because because they are scared of stigma.
Any family that would even try to hide should be arrested for it.
Definitely,
because it's not your decision to make.
But
you need to give that person closure. But then when it comes to that whole scenario or that situation, I feel like it really breaks my heart that things like this are going on, where someone already with that there's proof that someone did something, and then you still do not give these people don't get closure. They don't get to see the criminal, the perpetrator of this
getting justice for the people that were actually victimized.
This is happening in my own country.
Don't forget that even though I'll try to understand with some families, especially when it comes to the girl child or the boy child, when things like this happens, they are scared of the stigma that would come, that affects the family and then the life of this child if put out there. So definitely I understand the reason why sometimes some parents will take the initiative to cover the incident, but then if you do that, justice will never be served at the end of the day. So well, I think Sumaya, this is the much that we can take. I mean, we would have loved to just go through all the newspapers that we have picked today, but because of time, I think we can just move on. Definitely we'll just tell you to just look for any of the newspapers so far.
All of it, because they all have stories,
that piques your interest with any story that you've seen, so it will keep you busy for the day. Well, let's go on a quick break, and when we return, it's time for us to open the phone lines to hear your opinions on certain topics that we've chosen for you. Stay with us.